Hello, everyone, and thank you for opening your screen to be here with me today. To all of you that have already subscribed, your support means the world to me, and I'm so grateful to walk this path with you. And if you're new here, welcome. I'd love for you to join our growing community as we explore the meaning of life, the signs we noticed, and the moments that shape our journey. In today's episode, we'll talk about serendipity, the magic of when life's unexpected turns reveal a curse that feels planned, almost like destiny itself. And this time, it comes through a once-in-a-lifetime visit you won't forget. So once again, welcome to 1111 Ways. So in the past episode, the first episode of our channel, we talked about how moments trigger yourself or trigger your life in an incredible way. And after we created as a team that song that was so beautiful and united so many, it became something so strong that it could be sung by millions of people in the streets. It was really exciting. And I remember a lady that I love very much and that has been always a guide for me in my destiny, that has told me, this is not a song, this is an anthem. And I couldn't understand at the beginning what she meant. But then when I heard people singing it in streets and in different events and things like that, then I realized it was very important. And it had triggered a lot of feelings in a lot of people. So today we're going to talk a little bit about serendipity. Serendipity is when you set out to do one thing, but life gently redirects you to something unexpected, and often better. It feels like as the universe had a plan, and you accidentally detour from where you actually were to a real destination that it's better and more strong. The grace of these events in your life shape a lot of what you're meant to be. And today I'm going to bring you a story of my life that was really incredible. After we created the song, we debated of what we should do to unite people and to do something good for the world. It was then when I decided to think, well, can we do it? Is it possible? And again, this person that I'm telling you that has been very important in my life told me, yes, you can. It's your destiny. It's part of your life. It's who you are. And sometimes you debate, am I right? In the case of myself, that I have a big faith and I believe in destiny that we have in this world, I was always questioning, is it possible? Can I do it? So then you see things that happen to your life that start to shape and start to guide you through the path to do these things. And this happened in a very subtle way. I was in my office one day and my brother-in-law brought a person that had come to visit us. This person I'd never met before. His last name was something like Sotella, something like that. I'm not going to give you the exact name, but that was the person who came. He came from Italy. And he was, in few words, proposing an alliance with the communications firm we had at that point. I couldn't understand this visit or who this person was. But it was interesting that he was proposing us to go on a trip to Italy to meet his boss and in a way to see how we could shape an alliance. So I told my brother-in-law in that moment, what do we have to lose? It's a free trip and we'll go there. We'll meet some interesting people, and if it works, it works, and if it doesn't, we'll come back home. So we did. We accepted the invitation and we went to Rome. Then everything started happening in a very strange way, but very exciting. When we arrived at the airport, we were greeted by this crew that was picking us up. And they told us, before we go on a tour tomorrow, would you like to see some things in Rome? And I said, for sure. I like to go, for example, to the Fountain di Trevi. And they took us there. The thing that was amazing and different is that the car pulled in just next to the fountain. And I told the driver, you're not supposed to go all this way in. You're supposed to park like a block away or a couple of blocks away. And then he pulled a permit that he had, a special permit that said, no, yeah, we can park here. So I said, oh, wow. In my mind, I was thinking, who are these people? Why do they have so much power? What's happening? So anyways, I carried along, and then in the next couple of days, we had some interesting tours around the city and around the country to see the offices of this agency that was supposed to be some kind of alliance with us. So then the day came when I was going to meet finally the real owner or the boss, the big boss of this company. And one of the things that of course for me was very moving is I was in Rome, in such a beautiful city, in the heart of my own faith, which is Catholic, and of course I was very excited. By the way, I don't know if you've all seen, but this week there was an amazing, beautiful concert called Grace for the World, a concert in St. Peter's Plaza at the Vatican. And I'll leave the link in the description if you want to see it, because it was amazing and beautiful. Anyways, when I finally was the day to come meet the real boss, the driver picked us up and took us to their house. And I was amazed when he parked, because he parked in this building of 3 stories, and in front, a couple of blocks in front, was the White Palace, the palace of the president. By that time, Silvio Berlusconi was the prime minister of Italy. So I said, wow, if they live in front of them, they must be, very powerful people. And I asked the driver, who lives in this building? There's 3 stories. And he said, in the first level is Gianni Angeli, which was the son of the founder and creator of Fiat, the cars famous in Italy. And in the second floor, Dino De Laurentiis. And I remember Dino De Laurentiis because he was the movie producer, the big movie producer that created the 10 Commandments and many movies that were very famous by then. And then on the 3rd floor, Mario. And I said, okay. And so this is impressive. So I went up to his house and I walk in, and the first impression I have is I look to the walls of the house and I see, oh wow, there's a Rembrandt and there's a Picasso. And I said, wow, these paintings are unique. So to have them is really a blessing and, very important. So finally, Mario came out to greet me, and he had like a tennis elbow or something in his elbow. And he said, sit down, let's talk a little bit and meet. So he started talking to me about filmmaking, about that next week he was going to meet Spielberg in Florence and all this. So I was very, very impressed. And then suddenly a man comes in with a book and says, oh, Miguel, look, this is the person who is going to publish this book. He is the photographer of the life of Liz Taylor. And I look at the book, and I looked at the book. It was a very beautiful book. And then this person leaves, and we continue talking about filming and about production and all the things I liked. But suddenly he asked me a question, and he said, what else do you want to do in your life? That was a very interesting question, because then I said, well, I really have this dream. With the help of my brothers and the team, we created this event and we did this song, and he moved the whole country. But I don't want that to be it. I want to do more. And I want to create a foundation that will help homeless children and that will rescue them from the streets. And he said, okay, I can help you. What do you need? And I said, well, I need 3 things. One is I don't have the money to really build a place for these children. I like to get, contributions from people that can help me get there. Second, I don't have the experience. I'm not a psychologist or a therapist or a doctor. I have a good heart and I want to help them, but I need the help of specialists. Third, this is Rome, the house of my church, and I would like the support of my church. I said, okay, hold on. And then he grabbed one of those flip Motorola phones and he makes a call. And then he tells me, okay, done. And I said, done what? And he said, tomorrow at 11. He didn't know about the 11 on my life, but I knew that was a sign that was telling me it's the right thing. And he said, tomorrow at 11, Monsignor Francesco Gioio is going to receive you in the Vatican. He's very busy, so you may have like 15 minutes. So go and present him with your laptop what you want to do, and I'm sure he'll like to help you. So then we went to dinner. We had dinner in his house, and I thanked him and I left. The incredible thing is after that, nothing really happened with this alliance because the plan of the universe and for me, the plan of God was something else much more bigger and special. It was a clear sign that I was doing the right thing. So I went at 11 to meet Monsignor the next day. And when I met him, I said, I was very thankful that he received me, and I started telling him the story of the concert, the song, what we wanted to do. And but I was looking at my watch because I didn't want to take a lot of time from his visit time. So I told him after 20 minutes, I don't want to take more time from you, Monsignor. I just want help. And he said, no. Do you have time? I would like to show you some things in the Vatican. And I said, me? I have all the time you want. It's you that I'm afraid. No. I'd like to show you. So we walked out. He was next to the piazza of St. Peter's, facing on the big cathedral, of course, of St. Peter's. And then we walked and we turned a little bit to the right where there's some big doors and there's two Swiss guards on it. And those Swiss guards told him, Your Excellency. And he says, please open the doors. So they opened the doors and we walked through this incredible, beautiful hallway. And he tells me, I want you to see this. This is the hallway where presidents and kings walk through when they come to see the Pope. But it's important that you see this. And then he started lecturing me about the importance of help, the importance of loving your fellow people and trying to help them in whatever way you can. So it was a very nurturing lecture while we were walking with this incredible hall. At the end of the hall, there was another guard and another big door. And he said, please open the door. So he opens the door, and we are in the Sistine Chapel, all alone because there wasn't tourists at that time. I was like, oh my God, we're here. And then he said, yeah, here's where they put the votes and they do the smoke stove, and this is where the cardinals sit. And he told me everything that happens there. And then I was like, thinking just recently the world had the blessing of electing a new pope, and I relived all those spaces that I saw because what was coming next in this visit was amazing because after we were in the Sistine Chapel and he tells me to take some pictures and I said, oh, you can take pictures here. And I said, yeah, he said, you can take some pictures. So then we walk through this little portico or this little door that you go into a room. Now that I saw it later on years like this, on the election of this Pope, it's called the room of the crying or the human, because that's where every Pope, once he's elected, he goes in there, he's excited, he tries the costume that he's going to use, and of course all of them cry of emotion and responsibility and how big of a change they have in their life. So there, inside that little room that I'm showing you in these pictures and these scenes from this recent election of the Pope, there's a couch there, there's a sofa there that's covered, and there's a guard next to it. He takes the cover and he says, in this couch, all the popes have sitten when they're elected and they cry before they go out to the balcony to see the people in the piazza. And he said, sit down and pray. I can't sit down there, Monsignor. He says, I'm telling you, sit down and pray. So I was so emotional, so moved. Of course, tears came out of my eyes, and I was saying, what's going on? Why is this happening? So after there, we walked through some other hallways, and he tells me this is where the customs of all the popes are, in these big glass containers that have all these different customs. And then we see a rectory, a private rectory with the Pope prayers. And he says, do you want to pray? And I'll kneel down and pray. And then we walked and walked and walked, and suddenly there's a curtain. And he moves the curtain with his hand, and he says, look where you are. I was inside the balcony where the popes comes out. So I was really, my brain was like saying, what is this? Why is this happening? So we walked outside through the gardens. He showed me the the bell of the millennium, a big bell that's in the gardens of the Vatican. And at the end, we walked towards the gates where he was going to say goodbye and, wish me good luck and everything else. But there was a guard with a paper calendar, those classical paper calendars of the past times. And the paper calendar had the date of that day, and it was September 11 of 2002, exactly 1 year after September 11, after we did the song and everything else. The guards usually have a bunch of postcards that they give to the tourists when they come by. So he picked some postcards, gave them to me. We said goodbye. I grabbed a taxi. I climbed on the taxi, and the first thing I did in the taxi is I counted the postcards. There were 11 postcards. So for me, that was an incredible sign that I was giving a sign to tell me you have to do what you have to do. And when I came back and flew back to Venezuela, where all of this was happening, I called upon the higher priest of the church, so I could meet them and explain them what just happened a couple of days before. And I remember today's cardinal that I admire very much, and he was there, the Cardinal of Venezuela. He stood up and he said, "You have God's blessing and you have to do what you have to do." And I said, "And you think I'm not going to do it? I'm going to do it. Nothing's going to stop us." And that's how we started with all the planning. And then came some amazing events and more signs that were showing us we were in the right path. And that's what's incredible. When I went to Rome to do something else, but it shifted completely and gave me a path for the right, a path of a sign that will show me what I had to do. So sometimes you have to be aware in life that you have powers and you have capabilities of doing things that you may not think you have, but you do. We all have those powers in this earth. We all can do amazing things. We just have to trigger them. We just have to understand that helping others and doing the right thing is always the way to go. So I hope you enjoyed this story, because it's going to get better and better. And I hope you can share the stories of this channel to your friends and to your family and everyone else, so they can also understand what happens when we are given signs in this life. 11 has been a very important sign in my life, and it keeps being every single day. So I invite you to continue. If you haven't subscribed, please push that button and that bell so that we can be together and we can share more stories. And also, don't forget, in the comments, please tell me what else you want to know about, or what else moves you, or what do you think of the stories I'm sharing with you. I thank you again for being here, and I hope to see you again in very few days in the next episode of this incredible journey on 11 Ways. Thank you.